Alright, let's review absolute value equations and how to solve them. So it's a four-step process. We have to isolate the absolute value, split it into two different equations, solve each one, and check our answers. Now you may be looking at this and say, hey, absolute value equal to a negative number, isn't that no solution? Well, you can't make that determination until you isolate. So let's isolate. Common mistake here, 5 minus 2 is 3. You cannot do that. Order of operations says no. This is multiplication. You cannot put these two together. So the first thing I need to do on this problem is subtract 5 from both sides. I'll have negative 2 times the absolute value of x plus 1 equals negative 16. Now I'll divide both sides by negative 2. And what I have here now is I have the absolute value isolated equal to a positive number. So this will have two solutions. So if you assume at the beginning that they had no solution, you would have gotten this problem wrong. Now comes the split. The first equation is exactly the same. For the second equation, I will negate the other side. Then solve each problem. Subtract 1 from both sides, I get x equals 7. Subtract 1 from both sides, I get x equals negative 9. Check those out. Plug in 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. The absolute value of 8 is 8. That checks out. Plug in negative 9. Negative 9 plus 1 is negative 8. Take the absolute value of that as positive 8, which equals 8. So both of these work. Now let's take a look at a problem where you have a variable on the outside. Still the same four steps. Isolate. Well, that's already done for me on this problem. So I can jump right to split. So split into two different equations. The first one is exactly the same. For the second equation, I have to negate the opposite side. So positive x becomes negative x. Negative 5 becomes positive 5. Now I need to solve both these equations. So on this one, I'll subtract x from both sides. Cancels out, and while I'm at it, might as well add 1 to both sides. And I get x equals negative 4. Jumping over to here, I'm going to add x to both sides. That cancels out. While I'm at it, might as well add 1 to both sides. That cancels out. 3x equals 6. Divide by 3. X equals 2. Now, on the questions where there's a variable on the outside, it is crucial to check your answers because you might end up with extraneous solutions very easily. Let's check. Plug in negative 4. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Negative 8 minus 1 is negative 9. And the absolute value of negative 9 is 9. Let's try the other side. Negative 4 plugged in. Negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9. Are those the same? No, they're not. So this is extraneous. It's not actually a solution. Let's try the 2. Plug in 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 1 is 3. The absolute value of 3 is 3. Plug in 2 on the other side. 2 minus 5 is negative 3. Are those the same? No! This solution is also extraneous. Since there's no viable solution, the answer to this question is no solution. So make sure you check your answers on those. That's absolute value equations.